Imagine you're sitting in your mother's oncologist's conference room when he states, "The best we can hope for is that your mother could survive 5 years at best with this terminal cancer diagnosis. Only if she took chemotherapy, radiation treatments, and stem cell surgery that in and of itself could kill her." It's a scenario that you wouldn't wish on your worst enemy, and personally, I don't even for a second want to ever imagine being put in that position. Yet unfortunately, it was a reality that our guest today, David, found himself in 14 years ago.
She learned through life that when you have tragedies and turmoil, don't allow that to destroy you emotionally. So that was the start of it. She prepared herself, and then entail everybody else was strengthened as well, just from a mental and emotional standpoint, which is really important later on, where we learned in health that stress and managing stress levels is really, really critical in disease prevention and restoration, as well. In particular, like her case was with cancer. So that was the very first step, how to manage the information of you have cancer, and then emotionally and mentally being able to now redirect your focus to a place of strategy. And that was the next step, was strategy. And
I love that she could internalize it and process it and then change the trajectory of her life the way that she did. It's absolutely incredible.
the foods that we changed from, where we used to eat basically what they call the SAD diet, which is the standard American diet. And that consisted of, eating a lot of meats, uh, foods that are filled with sugar, like you were saying earlier, processed foods, some fast foods. And so we totally changed once we found out that a new way to eat was eating, like you said, closer to how our ancestors, how they had eating more vegetables and fruits. And so what we ended up doing is finding out, like you said, the processed foods have chemicals in them. So even the produce, even the fruits and vegetables have pesticides that are sprayed on them, the regular conventional produce. And so we learned that those chemicals that they spray are highly toxic. They cause cancer, they cause other abnormalities in our bodies that cause the brain and the neurons in our brain to end up dying. And that's called a process called excitotoxicity. And so we're like, we don't want to cause any more problems to our bodies than the problems that we have now. So that's why we decided to eat organically, closer to how the foods are naturally out of the ground coming up, so that we can retain those nutrients found in the foods. So after she started following the program, in about 30 days, we started seeing improvements in her health. And so one day I was in my house and somebody came up the steps, and they came up so fast, I thought it was my brother. But when I looked and saw the person at the top of my steps, it was my mom. And I couldn't believe it, because my mom was severely overweight. She had arthritis in her body. And so it would take her one step at a time to go up the steps. So when I saw it was her, I was like, that's what changed the transformation in me. When I saw her, and it only been about under 30 days that we started to see these dramatic improvements. So that's how I got ushered into health and wellness.
Sylvia's dietary modifications appear to be contributing to the maintenance of remission from multiple myeloma and otherwise incurable bone marrow cancer malignancy. It must be so amazing to be able to have that confirmation from her oncologist.
He was blown away. I mean, we never thought, that our doctors would start to confirm our health improvements. But they were willing to be honest and open and truthful. And so, yeah, he was very pleased that she was able to improve in her health. My mom was just ecstatic, because she, like we were saying earlier, began to live life and continue that life, not only to be alive, but to be alive and be able to do things.